Hi guys, Kar Yong here, and in this video I'd like to talk about a particular stock which is Intel Corporation. Okay, ticker symbol INTC. Intel Corporation shouldn't be foreign to many of you, I would suppose, right? You would probably hear about it when you buy a laptop, you use a computer, alright? You probably come across this company. Okay, and this video here, I'm specifically recording this to try something new and see if this is something that you guys would enjoy and benefit from it. Is that whenever I have a potential trade idea, right, I thought of why not shoot out a video, record the thought process, the reason, the analysis and the perspective as to why I'm having that trade idea. Okay, so with two objectives over here. Number one is, of course, to share with you what are some of the trades, the investment ideas that I'm personally looking at, and the other objective over here is to hopefully give you behind the scenes as to how I look into all this, and hopefully you'll be able to learn and acquire those thought process as well, okay, which you'll then be able to duplicate for yourself, acquire that skill set, and you'll be able to use it for the lifelong journey of your trading and investing. Okay, so let's talk about Intel over here, right? INTC. Okay, now I'm using some of the toolkits that in a very short period of time I'll release this to you guys. Okay, because this Google spreadsheets, there are certain formulas running behind, and recently we do have some hiccups from the coding side of it, because of certain website they start to block how we can extract certain data. Okay, so there's some delay into it, but all these toolkits, again, if you're in the mastermind group, right, you will have full access to all this development over here. Okay, but in this video here is really just right now is really to share with you how I use all that, right, and eventually you have full access to all this model. Okay, so this is the valuation toolkit, which is generally when we look at the stock, right, for investment. There are various models in which we can do valuation. Okay, some is what we call the DCF, right, which is what discounted cash flow model is. That's what Warren Buffett used to find out whether a stock is undervalued, right? Is it a good buy? And then of course we have the model by Graham. Okay, Benjamin Graham's, and they have a certain formula and calculation as well to calculate whether it's undervalued, is it fair price to enter a stock now. And of course, there's the dividend discounted model, which is DDM. Okay, so again, there's no best valuation method or model out there. Depending on the stock, depending on how you look at it, okay, the reason for you to acquire the stock, you need to look at various models. Okay, the other toolkit I'll be using is actually a fundamental analysis toolkit. Okay, so over here, if you're looking at stocks, right, this is very important because you want to only invest and buy into stocks that are fundamentally solid and strong. Okay, which means that even if something like this happened in 2020, the company is able to sustain itself and grow out of all this crisis. Okay, so that's pretty important. Okay, and of course, also have in terms of the fundamental analysis, there's the quantitative side, there's the qualitative side. Okay, whether you look into the financial ratios, the financial numbers, or you look at the qualitative, more of like understanding what this business is. Okay, so over here, of course, I won't go into detail of the qualitative because Intel is a huge company. Okay, it's not like some penny stocks where they need some introduction, right? Intel is a huge company where you just do a simple Google, you know about that, right? You are probably using their product anyway. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the quantitative score, right, the max score we have based on the method and the approach that I use. Okay, the max score is 21. Okay, and Intel is having a score of 20, right? So fundamentally, this is a very, very strong company. Okay, and that tells me that I can close two eyes, I can invest in this company for the long term, right? And the only thing I want to be concerned of is what price do I want to go in, because I know this company is solid, but at the same time I also want to profit the most out of it. Okay, and that's where the valuation toolkit comes in. Okay, so Intel over here, you can see they do give dividend. Okay, so some companies they don't give dividend. Okay, you might want to use the other model, the valuation model, but Intel does pay dividend. Okay, so for that reason, if I'm approaching it from a dividend growth investing portfolio basis, then I'll be looking at the dividend discounted model, right, DDM. Okay, and based on this, we can look into how the dividend has been growing for Intel. Okay, so this is a very good website that you can actually extract a lot of information out of it as well. Okay, and over here you can see for the past 10 years, right? This is from November 2010 to August 2020, close to 10 years. Okay, the dividend has been growing. Okay, and you can see the minimum over here is started off with 16 cents back in 2010. As of today, 2020, right, is 33 cents. So that's almost like 100% growth in their dividend across close to 10 years, right? And if you just average that out, that's about 10% dividend growth per year. Okay, of course we do it very simply without compounding effect and things like that. Okay, so if you take a look at that, then what I do over here is just input the expected dividend growth. I'm expecting it maybe for the next 5 years to continue growing by 10%. Okay, I can be more conservative and can put in here 8%. Okay, the terminal growth rate basically means that what is the you can't grow forever, right? So eventually it will stop at a certain growth rate. And to me, I put it at 5%, which is just slightly above the normal average GDP in the US. Okay, so the idea here is as the economy in the US continues to grow, based on GDP itself, the GDP growth rate, then I'm expecting this company to continue growing. Okay, and I just put it at 5%. Expected return rate over here, I'm putting it at 8%. Simply means that if I'm investing at Intel, I'm expecting to actually return 8% year on year. Okay, including the dividend, and this model here will tell me what is the intrinsic value, what is the fair value to get in such that I can hit this. Okay, now the current price of Intel is actually $51.43, and that's already under value of the current IV based on the DDM model rate. In other words, right now at $51.43, if I enter into Intel, I will be actually expected rate of return is way higher than 8% already. Okay, but of course, again, you guys know that I don't only look at the fundamental and the valuation toolkit. I'm also looking at the technical charts to tell me where is the best price, the highest probability where I can catch kind of like near the bottom of Intel. Okay, and over here, if I bring you to the daily chart, okay, you can see historically, okay, this is all the way back in 2009 after that recession that happens in 2008. Intel has been nicely trending up, right? Respecting in this trend. Okay, and of course, this year earlier, okay, in March, you can see this is where it drops and then it rallies back up, and right now it's coming back near towards this bottom. Okay, and I applied a little bit in terms of the principles of Elliott wave. So we're anticipating this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, potentially this is your 1, 2, 3, completing a bigger corrective pattern before the push to the upside. Okay, and if I go to the 4-hour time frame, you can see this is a gap, right? So in the stock market, usually when we see a gap, that's an impulse move, right? Which means that what we have right now over here is an impulse followed by a correction. Okay, so we are anticipating one more push to the downside, but this push here is where, if it happens, it's going to be a good opportunity for us to look for accumulation. Okay, and what I put in is some Fibonacci ratios, and over here we can see that somewhere around $45.50 would be a good entry price to look for accumulation opportunity for Intel, right? INTC. Okay, and of course, if I were to bring up the momentum indicator, right, most of the time between wave 3 and wave 5, we're gonna see some form of the divergence, and if this is gonna come down here, likely we are gonna see some form of divergence happening anyway, right? You don't really need the indicator, but I'm putting up over here just to show you that it's likely gonna happen with a divergence, right? So when all those things are aligned, okay, this is where I'll be looking closely in terms of price reaching the $45.50, I'll be accumulating Intel. Okay, and this is gonna be a long-term investment idea, right? Which means that when I enter at $45.50, I have no intention of getting out, even if it's gonna be profitable in terms of the price. Okay, I'll be looking at accumulating it, collecting dividends, right? Unless something changed fundamentally, I'll be invested in Intel once I get in. Okay, so I hope this little recording over here do you enjoy it. Okay, let me know, give me some feedback as to something like this will value add to you, right? And if it does, then whenever we have a good trade idea, I'll just do a simple video recording like this to share with you that insights and the reasons as to why we are looking at that, right? So let me know in the comments below. Okay, if you enjoyed this kind of video, you benefited from it, let me know, and we'll talk again real soon.